Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this series of videos, I'm redoing some of the AZ500 series labs. Now these lab instructions are available from GitHub, from Microsoft Learning. There are multiple versions available, so make sure that you are going to the right GitHub lab. And these labs, they were updated very recently to reflect many of the recent changes or ongoing changes that Azure made to various resources. And if you see, some of them are updated as early as like five days ago. So these, most of them are very recently modified to reflect the changes that we have. So again, we finished this lab and we are looking at the Azure policy, and we're not looking into in very details, but we'll go over the idea and the concepts the lab wants to cover. So two main things: we're gonna create one policy and we're gonna test the policy. Okay, so if you go to Azure, your Azure policy, they come as a separate blade, like a separate resource. There are multiple ways to implement the policy. So you can apply the policy in multiple different scopes as well. So if you're interested, you can also do a look for Azure policy, and it should go take you to the right place. Overview of Azure policies, this documentation. So a view policy and understand evaluation and outcomes. So your resources created, updated, or deleted in a scope with a policy assignment. A policy or initiative is a newly assigned to scope. Policy or initiative is already assigned to a scope is updated. So when the policy is evaluated, that is what it's trying to tell you that. But even before that, a policy is pretty much rules and that you're going to use to control the security, the cost management, naming standard, tagging, all of that feature within your cloud. And there are many different ways to deploy your policies, and today we're going to use the portal to assign a policy. So let's just come back over here and let's start with creating a resource group. So I'm already logged into the Azure. So let me try. So this is a PowerShell commandlet. I'm using the PowerShell, Cloud Shell, and new AZ resource group, and this is the resource group that is going to create. So if hit enter, and looks like I'm in a different resource groups. Let's just close this one, and what I'll do, I'll just go down to home and just create the resource group by hand. So let's see which subscription, this is the right subscription, and what I want to do, actually, you know what, create, and I want to create the subscription name AZ500 Lab 2. So AZ500 Lab 2 is TOS, and review and create, and that should create the particular resource for me, and it's done. So once the resource group is created, so this is the resource group that I have created over here. We're going to work on this policy, work on this resource group to do some policy work. So you can go and look for the policy, and policy will come up as a separate resource. So you can click on that one, and you have a whole bunch of things. You can click on the getting started, and this kind of gives you the workflow. You gotta assign your policy, then assess compliance, and then if you want, you can also create custom policy definitions tailored to your own environment. And here they're already telling you, hey, there are some recommended policy assignments like inherit tags from resource group, require tag on a resource group, not allowed resource type, enable Azure Security Center, enable Azure Monitor for VM, audit Windows VM for security, and more. So all the policies, you follow 3 steps. You look at the definition, and then you assign the definition to a particular management group, subscription, or down to a resource group. And if you want to have some exemptions, you can click on that one as well. Now there are blueprints also available, where you can use a blueprint to assign a whole bunch of policies to a subscription. If you have a multiple subscription environment and you want to be consistent, you can use blueprint to apply a set of policies consistently. So just focus on this particular lab in here. So in this one, what we are gonna do, we are gonna look for we're gonna go to the authoring and then definitions, and we're gonna look for the allowed locations policy in there. So if you come over here, come to definitions, and if you go to definitions, you will see that we should have policies and initiatives. Initiatives are usually a group of policies. So you see, if I click on initiatives, so each of them are initiatives, and they will say how many policies they contain. Okay, and if I click on policy, this will be just policy, so just one policy. So over here, what we want to search for is the allowed locations, and you see I have a whole bunch, at least 3 built-in policies that are for allowed locations. And you can click on this one, and it will tell you the policy and how it's defined, and it's going to give you the format of the policy. Now, few things you can look at is who is the provider of this policy. So this one, let's see, do we have a provider right now? Control F, let's see, it's just a provider. Where is it? Yeah, provider. So over here, the ID is the provider's Microsoft authorization policy definition. So this, and what you want to see, you want to look at what is the rule of the policy, is the location, and the type. So this is kind of the general format, and here you have a description, you have a policy type. It could be built in. If you're writing your own policy, you could have a custom policy, and the display name is the allowed location. So, and the parameters, if you go, it's available effect is the deny. So you can use this policy to deny resources that are deployed in anywhere where it's not allowed. So all you need to do in here, you can click on assign. Let me see, that would be the easiest way to assign the policy. Let me see if they're doing asking you to simply, yeah. So it says that click on assign, and then you can assign the policy in multiple scopes. So if you click on here, you can assign it to the root level, or you can assign down to a particular subscription. I'm going to choose the subscription. Even within the subscription, I can choose a resource group, and I'm going to use the AZ lab 500 lab 02 as the resource group where I'm going to assign this policy. We are not keeping any exclusion. If you want to exclude something, we can also define from here. Assignment name, allowed locations. Usually I would change this name, and I will add assign, and for production I'll say prod. Let's see what they're saying. So they're saying assignment name, change it to allow UK South for AZ 500 lab 02. See, so change your name, and then make sure that it's enabled, and description, you can say allow resources to be created in the UK South only. So come down over here, put it in here, and that's about it. So that will assign this particular policy to that particular resource group. And here, go back to, so here you have to select, we said which one, we said UK South only. So just over here, UK South is the only allowed location. So now click on review and create, and then create. So now that's about it. So that created the policy. This policy is now applied to this particular resource group. And so what is gonna happen if we want to test any resource in that particular resource group, and that is not in that UK region, so it's in East US, it should stop me from deploying that stuff. So if I go back over here, come home, go to resource group, and I know this resource group, and just try to create anything, say custom deployment, and say we want to create something. So here is some basic one. Let's come back over here, and let's see, maybe just go to marketplace. Hold on, marketplace, and from here let's try to do key vault. Okay, and create, and let's try something that is not UK South. So here KV, I'm just trying something random, and then hit review and create, and it's now running the validation. And sometimes it's weird that the validation will be successful but it will fail at the deployment time. So let's see what happens for this one. And what, yeah, the validation is successful. So if I now try to create, so now it's trying to create, but when you are creating, it's going to the ARM, and ARM should be seeing that, hey, the management plane, we have some restriction and it deployment failed, and it should tell you why it failed. So if you click on here again, so it will say that resource KV was disallowed by policy and policy definition and this. So sometimes this summary is not good enough. You gotta go to the raw error and see exactly what is the policy. So the policy name is the allow UK South for this, so you know that this is the only allowed location for this particular resource group, and that is the reason the policy is failing. So that's about it. So that's all you needed to do. So here they have tried to create something else, and then if you want try to create another resource and deploy it to the UK South, and you should be successful. So let's test that one out as well, maybe. So let's just go back to home again, go to the resource group, and create a marketplace, and this time try IP address, because it can IP address, let's say a reserved IP address. So, and then create, and it's still in this group, so my test IP, and let's choose UK South. So let's say UK South, and then review and create. So now it's running the validation, and once the validation is successful, we're going to try to create, and this time we better be successful, because this is matching our, so see, our deployment is in progress, and we should have the IP address available to us very soon, because this is following the policy that we have set for this particular resource group. Now you get the idea, right? So this is how you can govern, and you can do a lots and lots and lots of different things. You can encrypt your databases. You can say HTTPS is always enabled. You can say TLS 1.2 is required. You can say always use private endpoints whenever possible. You can block ports from the internet. So there are tons of things that you can do that to harden your resources using the policy. It's a very, very powerful feature. So spend a good bit of time learning the policy and working with it, and learning the workflow, and even understanding how this policy is going to help you identify how to audit the policy, how to create reports out of the policy, and go from there. So let's come back to the lab, but for this particular lab, you just we don't need to do anything else. So that's all we wanted to do: introducing the policy assignments, definitions, and testing out how it works. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. That really helps my channel, and sign up for my channel, and let's meet in the next lab and do it together. Thank you.